Okay, welcome to video 2.1. In this video, we're going to talk about the properties of operations. The first one that we're going to talk about is the associative property. So the associative property changes grouping by moving the parentheses. So let's come up with some examples. So one example with addition is if we have A plus B grouped together, associated together, and we add C, that's equal to A plus B plus C being grouped together. So what was grouped together changed with the parentheses. So that's addition. We can also do this with multiplication. So with multiplication, it would be like saying, okay, 1 times 2 is grouped together and then multiplied by 3, or 1 times the group of 2 times 3. What's associated together changes, but they're still equivalent. Okay, the next one is the commutative property, and we underline the CO here or highlight it because for this one, the order is changed. So CO changes the order. So the C and the O for changes order. So an example of this might be, for addition, 5 plus 2 is equal to 2 plus 5. We can also do this with multiplication. So we have x times y, that's the same as y times x. The order changed, but that's all. Okay, distributive property is something that we've already talked about. That's when we multiply through by the terms in front of the parentheses, and we've done that already with like the negative when a negative was out front. So this should be a review, but let's show an example anyway. So an example might be like this one here where we do 4 and we distribute it to everything in the parentheses. So 4 times x is what gives us this 4x, 4 times y is what gives us the 4y. Another example might be where we have a negative out front. So this negative out front needs to be distributed to everything that's inside the parentheses to give us then our negative x minus y. So we've done that before where we distribute a negative and everything in there changes the sign. Zero product is just saying anything times 0 is 0. So if we have 5 times 0, that equals 0, and then x times 0 equals 0. So anything times 0 is going to give us 0. Let's go on to some examples. So this part here says, justify each step in simplifying this expression with one of the properties from above. Well, if I look in this first example, I basically want to see, how did I go from this step to this next step? So what would you do first? Well, I would think we want to get rid of the parentheses first. So I'm going to say, okay, distribute the x, distribute the 3 to the x and the 3 to the 4, and then distribute the negative 5 to the x and the negative 5 to the 2. Sorry, that's a little bit off, but you get the idea. So if we do that, do we get 3x plus 12 minus 5x plus 10? Yes, we do. So my reasoning for this one is definitely distributive property. Okay, and then I look now, what did they do next? Well, I see 3x plus 12 minus 5x plus 10, but then I see 3x minus 5x plus 12 plus 10. Nothing changed except for the order. So when we change the order, that's the commutative property. And name the property illustrated below. So if I look at this first example, I see 7 times 3 times 5, and then 7 times 3 times 5. Well, the order is still the same. It's 7, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5. But what's grouped together or associated together with the parentheses is different. So that's the associative property. Okay, in part B it says, okay, we've got 3 in parentheses a plus 4, and then it becomes 3a plus 12. Well, I think that in order to get from 3 to 3a, and from this 4 that was in parentheses to a 12, we distributed this 3. Remember, that's how we always get rid of the parentheses. So this one is because of the distributive property. We distributed the 3 to everything within the parentheses. So 3 times a gives us 3a, 3 times 4 gives us 12. Okay, this next one goes from 8 times 4 to 4 times 8. Well, this time I think the order is different, so that's the commutative property. And our last example here is that we have 6 times 0 equals 0. Well, that's definitely showing us, okay, we get 0. That's the 0 product. Anything times 0 is 0.